Hey guys, it's Ethan. I'm here with another video for you guys. Now in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Twitch blackout situation and the shutdown of Mixer. Now this video is actually a part 1 out of 2 that I'm doing on streaming platforms in general. The second video is actually going to cover the Twitch DMCA takedowns. The video was actually supposed to come out a couple weeks ago. I apologize for that, but I've just been very busy lately trying to work on other projects for you guys. So I had to push that video aside, but don't worry, I have that video out probably sometime next week. Anyways, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those will be in the description down below. And let's get on with the video. Now recently, with a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests, we have seen a lot of companies, rightfully so, been called out for the racist treatment of their employees. And one of those companies was Mixer, which is actually owned by Microsoft. Now a former Mixer employee actually took to Twitter to detail his experiences with the company. So I've gone back and forth with how I wanted to share this information. I debated doing a video and just letting my emotions come across as raw and unfiltered, but I believe the best way is to write how I feel. I worked at Microsoft for 2 years starting in 2017. In 2018, I relocated to Seattle to work on the Mixer team. I was beyond happy and anxious to have the ability to finally work in the gaming industry. The flip side of all of this is crazy. This experience was the worst I've ever had professionally, and it's all due to racism. I was one of the only black people working at Mixer during my tenure. While at a conference, I was pulled aside and told the only reason I was hired was because I'm quote street smart. The first thing that popped into my head at the time was affirmative action. I believe I was only hired to meet a diversity goal because I was black. Anyways, I decided to brush it off and let it go. Time goes by and we are in an internal meeting discussing projects we want to execute. My manager decided to give us an analogy. That analogy was, quote, I'm in between a rock and a hard place. What I mean is all my partners are my slaves. I own their content. I control their success on our platform. For me, I am a slave master. I own partners. Immediately, I got angry, pissed off, and honestly, I didn't want to work at Microsoft Mixer anymore. My manager saw my mood was not the same and decided to have a one-on-one. Within that meeting, I told her why I was angry and why her using that analogy was not okay. She decided to defend her statement and even had the nerve to Google that analogy to prove that it was okay. After Google showed her it was never okay to use that analogy, she told me I need to work on myself. If I wanted to go far in the industry, I need to work on my emotions and feelings to similar comments. After this meeting, I knew I was leaving. I reported my experience to skip level manager. I also include examples when my ideas in meetings were passed on. When said ideas were the exact same as my white colleagues, the skip never reported any of the slavery comments to HR. So when I spoke to HR, they were surprised and said this had never been communicated. After that meeting, I resigned a few weeks later. I spoke with the legal team to start an investigation with my manager. This investigation would continue even though I decided to terminate my employment. Months go by without a verdict. One day later last year, I got a call from my legal team with their final findings. The finding was not guilty. The reason my manager was not penalized and the reason she has her job today is because she cannot be racist. The reason she cannot be racist is because she was hired by a black person. Okay, this is my personal opinion on the whole situation, but the whole take of, oh, she cannot be racist because she was hired by a black person, that's complete BS, because how can the person you hire determine your own feelings? All right, just because someone hired you doesn't mean that they co-sign everything you do. All right, like, people are individuals, not robots. This is why you haven't seen me in any streams. These 4 points are the reason I do not and will not support Mixer. Now I have a lot of close friends at Mixer and I do not want you to think they're all bad, but one of the main people calling the shots has zero respect for any partner, not their platform. She believes that you are slaves and she owns your future and content. I stood up to her because I refuse to let anyone be classified as such and hope no partners feel bad I did so. I do not care about how big a company is or their market share. If we do not have the same values, if you cannot be intelligent enough to know racism isn't tolerated, then I will not work for you or your company. All in all, this was my experience. Now, after reading that statement from this former Mixer employee, I've come to the conclusion that he was most likely hired to meet some sort of diversity quota, because a lot of companies lately, especially after the passage of the Civil Rights Act back in 1965, have been required to meet certain diversity quotas to prevent racial discrimination within the workplace. And also, he was pulled aside and hired because he was quote street smart. I mean, if that's not a racist stereotype, then I have no idea what is. Now basically what happened to Mixer after this whole shutdown of the company is they actually partnered with Facebook Gaming. So basically within the next, I think it's like 90 days or so, people in Mixer are basically going to be contacted by Facebook Gaming. They're going to be able to transfer their partnerships from Mixer to Facebook. But the issue that a lot of people have with this turnover is that a lot of people spent so much time on Mixer, trying trying to build their platforms, and now basically the platform is shutting down and they're basically being forced to move to Facebook. And so for a lot of people, this is a possibility of killing their careers. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it might be, hopefully Facebook has a better work environment for the employees, but on the other hand, it's also really affecting creators. And the whole thing about Mixer not valuing their clients, I'm pretty sure Facebook's gonna do the same thing. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't think this is really gonna solve anything, because Facebook is probably just as guilty, or probably even more guilty than Microsoft Mixer is with how they treat their employees and clients. I mean, just look at Mark Zuckerberg. I'm 100% confident this man isn't even a human. Now, one of the craziest things that's happened with the fallout of Mixer is that Ninja and Shroud actually made a ton of money off of this whole Mixer deal. Sources say that Ninja made upwards of $30 million and Shroud made upwards of $10 million with these contracts with Mixer. And now they are completely free from those contracts because that Mixer is shutting down. And Ninja actually went to Twitter to say that he's actually considering coming back to Twitch. So not only did these dudes secure a bag, now they have the freedom to basically choose whatever platform they want. So that's like Facebook gaming, YouTube gaming, Twitch, and basically I'm pretty sure these companies are just going to be just clamoring to get these guys signed. Now this has actually sparked the debate of if it's in the company's best interest to actually sign these streamers, because are they actually making a profit back from the money that they've invested in these streamers? Now I just want to stress before I start this part of the video is that I'm going to be covering some sensitive topics, so I am going to have to unfortunately blur and censor some of the words I say and show in this video, because YouTube will probably demonetize my video if I do not do that. Also, I'm not trying to make this a political video. I'm just trying to give you guys the information with a little bit of my opinion and then let you guys come to your own conclusions. Anyways, let's get on with the situation. Now, if you guys don't know what's been going on recently, a lot of Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and internet personalities alike have been getting called out for sexual harassment and assault. Now, I just want to say is that these are all allegations, and I'm gonna not talk about any of these individual cases until due process has happened, because I don't want to label anyone anything, and I do believe in innocent to proven guilty. That does not mean that I do not believe any of these victims. I think that their voices should be heard and they should have the right to come out with these stories, but that means I'm taking a neutral stance on this whole situation, and I'm waiting until I have all the facts before I give my final judgment. Now, Twitter actually reacted to this by a lot of people calling for a Twitch blackout, which basically means no streamers streaming on Twitch for an entire day, and many streamers took to Twitter to basically say that they wouldn't be streaming for that day, but a lot of people ended up streaming anyways, and Twitch blackout was actually trending on Twitter, and a lot of people were talking about it, and it got to the point where Twitch actually responded to this whole situation by saying, "We take accusations of sexual harassment and misconduct extremely seriously. We are actively looking into the accounts concerning streamers affiliated with Twitch and will work with law enforcement where applicable. We are thankful for the bravery shown by those who have come forward to speak about their experiences, and we are committed to working to make the streaming community safer for everyone." Now, this was met with mixed responses, some people praising Twitch for actually responding to this situation and taking account for this situation. A lot of streamers actually took to Twitter to call out Twitch for their hypocrisy, with one of them actually saying, "These are empty words considering you as a company minimize and dismiss my sexual harassment and continue to let the predator attend your events and gave him live segments at E3 on your official channel." Now, basically my opinion on this whole situation is that I'm thankful for Twitch for responding to this whole situation, but at the same time, I think a lot of people feel it's a bit too late, and it's a bit hypocritical of Twitch, especially with Samantha Wong's statement. Twitch has turned a blind eye to a lot of these situations, so if these people that are being called out for these allegations are actually guilty, hopefully we'll see them locked up in the future. But with this whole situation, there have been a lot of people debating on Twitter, and like I said before, Twitch blackout was trending on Twitter. Now, James Charles actually took to Twitter to give his opinion on this whole situation, and he said, "Sexual assault is really fucking serious, and it is absolutely disgusting that making false accusations is becoming a trend right now. All it does is invalidate actual victims when they feel ready to come forward. Victims deserve to be heard and should never be invalidated, and it's insane that anonymous, newly made accounts are popping up with stories and people are believing it, with no proof at all. I'm not defending anyone, but there are two sides to every story." Now, I have to say I do agree pretty much in part with what James Charles said, and that there really are two sides to every story, and that we need to be looking at each of these individual cases from a non-biased perspective, and we need to make sure we get to the bottom of each of these cases so that we really know who is guilty and who is not, and make sure that we lock up the people who are indeed guilty. I think it's really sick that there are cases of people, and that there are people people that fake allegations, and it's absolutely disgusting because this actually hurts the validity of a lot of actual victims, and it causes a lot of people who are victims of sexual assault to feel like if they come forward that they won't be heard and they won't be taken seriously because everyone thinks they are a liar. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry that I had to cover such a sensitive topic, but it's just something that's been going on lately within the streamer community. I just want to give you guys the info, a little bit of my opinion, and let you guys come to your own conclusions. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you guys are gonna debate, please keep it civil. I don't want any like civil wars in the comment section, but just knowing how YouTube is, something's probably gonna happen. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
All that pretty shit ain't pretty. Pop his ass cause he thought a nigga was sweet. Flow Millie, I'm destined to reach some fucking millies, but niggas be on niggas. P. Diddy, I'm trying to send in this game. My goal is reach millions of fans, but don't want to be a celebrity. Celebrities got no privacy. Paparazzi